Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Rishi and today we're going to be diving deep into building a professional Pong game using Flutter. And I'll be breaking down everything that you'll need to know, like the components of the code, from a smooth gameplay to the intelligent AI, as well as touch controls. So by the end of the video, you'll understand how to create smooth transitions, as well as implementing game physics, building AI opponents, and as well as handling touch gestures using Flutter. Now I'm going to do a demo of our app to see how it's going to work. So as you can see over here, you can control the Pong game over here so that you can play against an AI opponent. Furthermore, you can also pause the game as well as restart the game, and then you also have a score counter at the top of the program. So let's begin programming. So here I've created my VS Code project, and I've also created our main.dart file, and let's begin programming. So we're going to be starting off with our basic imports that we might need. So the most important thing that we'll need is just material.dart, and then I'm going to be importing everything else later. Because with the problem with my current VS Code is that as you save them, it's going to be deleted. So I'm just going to be starting off with our with our void function. So we're in our void main. So within this, I'm just going to run app, and then we're going to be running our Pong app, which we're going to be establishing is a stateless widget. And now we're going to be creating a stateless widget. So here we're just going to be calling it Pong app. So now once we've created that, under this we're going to be creating our professional Pong game, as well as establishing several different Pong states. First of which we're going to be establishing the game state, the ball properties, the paddle properties, as well as the AI difficulty and the AI timer. So under our override, so we're just going to be build context, and then here let's just start from here. Okay, and then now once we've created that, I'm going to be continuing on with our class, where we're going to be extending it to our stateful widget, and in here we're just going to be establishing all the items that we need for our app. So here I'm going to be establishing all our game states as well as our ball properties. So here we're just going to have our game paused, game start, and then we're going to be having our player score as well as our AI score. And now once we are completed with that, I'm going to be establishing our ball properties as well as our paddle properties for both the user as well as the AI. And now once I've established that, we're also going to be creating our speed for our paddle. So we're going to be calling it and now once I've created the ball properties, I'm going to be switching on to the paddle properties. So in order for that to happen, I'm going to be calling the paddle property. So in order for that to happen, we're going to be differentiating between the player paddle, and then I'm also going to be using the AI paddle. And then here I'm going to be initializing the final double. So this is the paddle width as well as the paddle height and speed that both paddles are going to go by. Now following that, we're going to be having the AI speed, which is going to be 0.015, and then the timer is also going to be game timer. So now I'm going to be creating the animations. So we're going to be creating our animation controller. So first of which, animation controller, we're going to be calling it animation controller, and then another animation that we're going to be using is our fade animation. Now once we have that established, now I'm going to be creating a bunch of states. So first of which, I'm going to be starting with our init state, and here it just involves resetting the ball, and then we have our duration set to 300 milliseconds. And then I'm going to be continuing on to a bunch of other states. So right after this, there's going to be a start game set as setting the state for the start game, as well as starting the timer to 16 milliseconds. And then I'm also going to be creating the state for pause game, as well as resetting the game. So this is where we reset the game. So this is where we reset the ball to the original position once the user clicks reset. So here I'm just going to go back. So after our init state, we're going to be having our dispose, and then we're going to be setting our game timer to .cancel. And then I'm also going to be starting the game, and then we're going to be setting the state for pause game as well as reset game. And then for reset game, we're going to be calling the reset ball function, where it just resets to the middle of the field. And then right after this, we're going to be so for the reset game function, all you need to do is just simply have the ball reset to the center of the field. And then I'm also going to be updating the game. So updating the game involves counting the scores continuously during the game, and then it also involves that whenever the ball touches the paddle, for example, it reflects it, and if the ball touches the top or bottom parts of it, it reflects it as well, so that the ball doesn't go out of the field. And if the if the ball goes to either the left or the right, then the point is added on to the corresponding team. So in order for that to happen, I'm just going to be creating this. So here we're going to be having our void update function, and then within this I'm going to be setting the state to the ball speed. So we're going to be using ball x speed as well as ball y speed. And then here we're going to be using the ball collisions with both the top and bottom walls, as I've said before. And then when the ball collides with the paddles, it's going to reflect back and to increase slightly. And then here we're also going to be having our, for haptic feedback, this just depends on the user's controls. So whenever they press up, then it goes up, and whenever it presses down, it goes down. And then this is mostly the physics for the ball movement. And then here we're also going to be having the AI paddle movement, which essentially predicts the ball movement. And we're also going to be ensuring that the ball is played in bounds, and if it does go outside, it's only either on the left or on the right. So now I'm going to be focusing on the moving the paddle for the user. So in order for that to happen, you just simply need to add this simple functionality. So you just call it void move paddle, and then this just causes it to allow the user to move it up and down. So to reduce the errors, we can start establishing some of the packages that we're going to be using. So Flutter, and then we're going to be using services.dart, and then we're also going to be using some of Dart's packages. So first of which we're going to be using is Dart async, and then we're also going to be using the math functionality. So here we're going to be using Dart math. Now once we have that established, most of the errors are gone. The others are going to be resolved as we program throughout the app. And now following all of this logic, we need to now focus on painting our overall game. So in order to do that, I need to first establish our widgets and then start off with the screen size, and within this we're going to be having our corresponding scaffolds. So here right under this, I'm going to be calling our override, and then here we're going to be having our build context, and within this widget we're going to be setting the screen size to the size of the phone so that it can adjust correspondingly. And then I'm also going to be setting the background color to black, and setting the width as well as the height of the container. Now once we've established that, now I'm also going to be creating the touch area for the control paddles. So this is just going to be on the left side. So whenever the user clicks on the left side, they can control the paddle based on that. And now in terms of the score display, it's going to be updating every single time the ball hits either the left side or the right side, and it updates corresponding to based on based on if the AI scores or if the user scores. So right under this, I'm going to be using the position, and then based on the position we're going to be using the top 50, the left 0, as well as the right. So this essentially is just the left side of our this is just the player score, so this is going to be displayed on the top for the user, and then top right as well as the top left. Now once we've established that, I'm going to be working on the game controls. So in order for the game controls to occur, all we need to do is see if the game is paused, and if it is, we're going to allow the user to pause the game entirely and check to see if the game has started. So if the game has started, then we're going to be establishing all the paddles as well as the balls to its original place. So in order for that to happen, right under here, I'm going to be creating the game started. So if the game has not started and the game is paused, then we're going to be setting our container. And within this, we're going to be having our text. So as soon as the game is not started, we're going to be having our title as Pong. And then we're also going to be including instructions for the user so they can drag left side to control the paddle. And then all of this is essentially just to make it professional. So we have elevated button. So this allows the user to either start the game, pause the game, and then as well as to resume the game. So we have different sets of icons at the top on the top right of the screen to ensure that the user can select these options and have a smooth gaming experience. Once we've established that, now we can work on the game controls. So if the game has started, So this is before the game has started, and now once the game has actually started, then we can allow the user to control the game. So in order for that to happen, all they need to do is, so once the game has started, we can call the necessary functions so that the player can move the paddle, as well as establish the icons where there's pause game as well as restart game icons. Now once all of this has been established, now we can create classes. So for the purpose of these classes is to create the Pong painter, so which is basically to establish our functionalities, or essentially the game physics of how our ping pong ball is going to be moving. So for our Pong painter, I'm going to be extending this as custom painter, and within this we're going to be creating a series of variables. So we're going to be starting off with we're going to be establishing them as final variables. And now once we have all of this established, we're going to be calling our Pong painter functionality right under here. And then this just refers to each of these. So required, so we're going to be using all of the ball X, ball Y, ball size, ball, as well as the paddle and everything. So now in order for this to happen, we're going to be painting our canvas, and then we're also going to be drawing a center line so that it creates a border between both the user as well as the AI that you're playing against, and this is going to be a dashed line. And then apart from that, we're also going to be drawing the ball so that the user can track where the ball is going around the play field, and we're also going to be drawing the paddle so that it's more visual for the user, and as well as drawing the AI paddle, which is going to be on the right side. So all of this I'm just going to be copy pasting right now. So right under our Pong painter, we're going to be calling our, so over here we're just going to be void, and then here we're going to be calling our paint, and this is going to create our canvas. So the canvas size is just going to be based on the size of your phone, and here the center, we're just going to divide the width as well as the length in half. And then here, as I've said before, we're going to be drawing the center line, and then here we're going to be establishing the ball, which is going to have which is just going to be our center plus our ball, the x length of our ball, and times our center x. And here I'm also going to be creating the draw player paddle, and this is going to be on the left, as well as the draw AI paddle, which is going to be on the right. And now we have our extra curly braces, so you can delete that. So now I'm just going to be addressing the issues with our program. So first, instead of customer, it's supposed to be custom, and I think that was the only error that we had in our program. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment in the comment section below. Thank you so much.